hi everyone. I'm Ben, and this is Shannon. And I wanted to have a conversation with Shannon because she and I have been talking a lot about culture these days, and she has a personal experience with Movebees that I think we all need to hear. It's really encouraging. Shannon, thanks so much for being willing to sit down and be on camera. I wanted to just ask some questions. Some of us who are watching know you, obviously the current team that we're going to be sending this to do, but we're going to have people that are starting the job at Movebees who don't know you yet. So tell us a little bit about who you are.
All right. I am a military veteran. I retired out of the Army after 21 years of service. I have two beautiful children, girls that are my world. And I love Cleveland sports.
Yeah.
And all right. I have a very long background in logistics as far as my career has been in the military and even after.
That's awesome. Well, I'm so thankful that circumstances brought you to us. I think I came back from paternity leave and you were hired, and I got to meet you on day one, and we were starting new hire orientation. And that's where I got to meet you. What initially surprised you about Movebees when you came here, about the workplace, about the job in general that you maybe weren't intending to experience?
When I first got here, I noticed how everything's so professional. And what I mean by that is there's a standard of learning. There is a nice setup as far as the environment itself, and I'm not trying to, say that other places that don't have this aren't as good, but it's nice to be able to walk into an office and everything looks professional and feels professional. But it's not so professional that you're right. But it is. There's a lot of very cool things here. And that was one of my very first impressions, and how people were just fun and saying hi and nice to meet you, and, very friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome to hear. I was just talking with Tim, our owner, the other day, and he said, I love coming in here. My wife loves dropping in because it's, I don't know if you use the word buzz, which I know is the joke of all jokes, Movebees buzz, but there's a buzz here.
Yeah.
A positive one. People like working together here. Now, we're really big on culture. It matters to us. If we don't have a good culture, we ain't going anywhere.
Right.
That's how we believe. And we have goals to grow as a company, 1-year goals, 3-year goals, 10-year goals. Dysfunctional teams don't get anywhere. No. We want to be a team that actually likes working together, and to be able to have a good culture, we have to adhere to and align with some core values that we've outlined from the start. So those are servant leadership, integrity, respect, responsibility, and sportsmanship. Of those 5, which ones really stick out to you? Which ones are meaningful to you?
Being a military veteran, of course, the integrity, you have to always, that's your primary in any environment that you go into. Just knowing that what you're being told up front is the truth, and being able to rest in that, opposed to always wondering if you're being told the truth. However, here it's I've seen that, but I have seen so many of all of those values. And what I mean is the servant leadership. I've never once been in an environment or a workplace that the managers don't act manager, we're so much better than everybody who's not a manager. It's everybody's the same team, and you can really feel that here. Sportsmanship, it's amazing because, one of our best sales people on my team, he's the first person to reach out to me and be like, hey, have you looked at this? Or can you try that maybe to get this person? Trying to help me sell more or do more or be better, and I'm on his team. I'm usually covering the same companies he is. Yeah. But he is always willing to hey, let's try this and let's do, that's wonderful to not have somebody, I've noticed a lot in the civilian world, more so than the military. A lot of people like to undercut and, just kind of that, I don't know exactly what it's called because I've tried my hardest not to do it, but they undercut, or they're trying to look like I'm really awesome. This person's not, that type of stuff, and I haven't noticed any of that here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Servant leadership, really that value. I think you're speaking a little bit to that, because servant leadership is a value that matters to Tim, our owner, and our owner, his values really have influenced what our company is.
Yeah.
And one of the thing about servant leadership, it really actually comes from a part of his faith. He is a believer in Jesus, and so there's a part in the Gospels where Jesus is talking about leadership, and his disciples at the time of the story were clamoring for influence, and they're vying for the special spot next to Jesus, like can I sit on your right and can I sit on your left? But Jesus said the kings of this world are all about vying for that power at the top. But he goes, not so with you. He goes, with my followers, it's always a race to the bottom. It's always putting other people first and going last, where the most significant influence, life-changing influence happens. And he changed all civilization, Jesus did, because he was the epitome of what servant leadership is. And how cool now today, as a company, we want to live out that model as well, where we put others first before ourselves, because we believe that in the end, that is going to transform lives, will make the moving industry better because we were here.
And I've noticed that as far as like leads go, if one person has started working a lead, then that person is, everybody knows to hand off that lead back to that person. Like no one's trying to, I haven't even made contact with the lead yet.
Sure.
But if that person calls and they see that my name's on there and that I've tried to make contact, then instantly some other, sales person will send it right to me. And that's amazing. I mean, it's not like we're all just trying to get to the front.
Right.
We're all just trying to all succeed.
Yeah. It's great to work in a place where people have got your back, right?
Right.
Well, when it comes to these values, they are high bars, right? And there's times in our personal life or times in the company, life of the company, where living out those values is really challenging.
Yeah.
Circumstantially, there might be something that disrupts the vibe in the office, and then it really comes down to are we going to be true to the values that we say are important? Why would you say, despite the fact that they're hard to sometimes live out, why would you say it's important to follow through and live up to these core values?
The one thing that I've noticed, and I know is true, is, I've had a pretty rough time of it since I started with personal things happening or getting sick. I had COVID and all that other stuff and just a whole bunch of things. However, I've noticed that even though I may not have been 100% and doing everything all the time, everybody had my back during that time. And that doesn't always happen. That's the first thing. But, those values are why you, as a team, I believe, had my back, because I think some of those values are seen in me.
Yeah.
And I think that even if you don't live up to them all the time, as long as you're trying to live up to them, you feel good as a person, you feel good as a professional, and I think you feel good in your surroundings.
That's right.
Because, sometimes if you are in a company, which I've been in, that may have values, but they don't live them. They may have them written on a wall, but they don't actually live them. You feel it. You could walk into the room and feel it. And I've never felt it. Never have I felt it here. That people aren't at least trying.
Yeah. Right. I think on your first day, we were talking about the core values, and I said, "Listen, we are messy people. The core values are aspirational, and we're not perfect at it. So if you're coming into this job thinking that you're going to see them perfectly displayed, you're not. But when we fall short of them, we call each other to them, because we believe that ultimately they're going to lead us to a better place.
Yeah.
And we get back on the horse and keep on going. Yeah. So about a week or two ago, this is the last thing I wanted to ask you about, to just share with us. about a week or two ago, you came to Carrie, our sales manager, and I, and you were talking about, you gave us some news. You said that you had been, this is way back, you had applied for a job at the same time you were applying for Movebees, and the other job was your dream job, I would say.
Right.
It was in line with what you did dispatch, right? You
Right.
did dispatch for your career, and it just aligned with everything. It kind of had some of the things that you were looking for. You came and you gave your 2 weeks notice, but then you came back the next day. And tell me a little bit of what was going on.
Well, since I've, even during the time I was in the military, but since retiring from the military, I've kind of been through a couple of jobs. It's hard to find your home after you've served 20 some years in the military, regardless of the branch. I've experienced very, very toxic work environments, whether one being like to where you're working all the time and you never get a break and you're just completely stressed all the time, to being in another environment where that backstabbing, cutthroat stuff happens all around you and the values are simply on the wall. They're not actually lived.
Yeah.
I've experienced it. And the one thing that I found here at Movebees is peace.
Amen.
And before I came here, I'm pretty young in comparison to having a heart attack, but I'm 45 and I had a heart attack when I was 44. And I believe that a lot of that, of course, is, I'm sure DNA and health and all that stuff, don't get me wrong, but the majority of that stress and the majority, I believe, of that was the way I was made to feel and the way I allowed myself to feel, allowed myself to be stressed. Well, when I was sitting there thinking about my job that I had been offered, and of course, love dispatching. Like, it's a puzzle to me.
And we supported you.
Right.
Like,
you guys, I even think I kind of teared up when I was telling you guys. And I was sitting at home and I was thinking about it. And I thought, I've never come home from work stressed about my day.
Yeah.
Or wondering if that person may be upset with me, or if this person may be, or, those dynamics that you feel a lot of the time in an office environment.
Yeah.
I've never felt that here. And, sales is brand new to me. Never ever in my life sold anything. And so, maybe I was looking towards this new job as kind of going back to my comfort zone. But also kind of having experienced something new that's brand new to me outside of anything I've ever done, and making those connections with whether it be the company owners or the customers, making connections all over the country has been amazing for me. Like just talking to customers, and I've had some really awesome customers.
Yeah, you have. I remember.
So,
you told me.
And being able to leave work knowing you helped someone that day. Like, you may not get the sale that day or whatever, but you've probably done something to either make that person feel a little bit better about their move, make them feel a little bit of peace, make them, laugh. I've made a million people laugh, it feels like, since I've been here. All of that has led me to know that I'm comfortable enough to find success here. And
spoken well.
If you go to a new environment, I am not, my new job and the things that I was offered in that environment may be great. Who knows, but I am of an age where I value my own personal peace, well-being, and the atmosphere to be successful and support and family. Like, we are a family. And I know people say that that's not something you should say about a work environment. But, I say that because we don't want to let each other down.
Right.
You know, I mean, and that's one of the biggest things that it's hard to find.
Yeah.
And knowing that I found it here, made me change my mind. And it wasn't because I was scared to go off and do something else. I've done that. But I wanted to feel peace.
That's awesome. Well, we were so pumped that you stuck around. we love you here. I mean, it's true. It is a family, and like I told you, like we're just about to hit business season. It's going to be gangbusters. You're going to love it. You're going to make great money. But I love the fact that above and beyond all that, you love the place that you work.
I do.
And what a high calling that, and a challenge in a good way for us as Movebees staff, people who work here, to keep going, to embrace those core values, to see a better culture. Because I don't want you to be the last story.
Right.
Who can sit at this table and say, working here changed my life.
Yeah.
So.
And I honestly feel that. I mean, I've only been here since December, but the amount of peace and like calm, and my girls, my children, they see it. Like they know that mommy's no longer stressed. Mom's not coming home thinking about work.
Yeah.
And it has really been a eye-opening blessing for me. Because I've dealt in a world of stress for 25 years, and that's been my constant.
Yeah.
Stress. And I don't have that. I mean, I'm like go-getter, and I want to like get out there and sell, and like.
You can tell you were in the military.
Right. Make sure that like all of my company owners are happy, and the customers I talk to are happy. Of course, I want to make sure that the admin team doesn't get calls about Shannon as much as possible. But other than that, I don't feel like it's a to where I have to be stressed all the time and look over my shoulder.
Right. No, we got you.
So it's peace. That's what it boils down to me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Shannon, thanks so much for sharing. Thanks for sharing with all of us, those who already know you from our team and those who are going to watch this in the future. Really appreciate you sitting down and talking with me.
I appreciate you having me in here.